حي على الفلاح.
He walked towards the fire. He was called out, "O Musa, I am indeed your Lord. You are now in the sacred valley of Tuwa, and I have chosen you, so listen to what is revealed. Go to Pharaoh. Indeed, he has transgressed. My Lord, I have slayed a man among them, and I fear that they will slay me. Why are you concerned, Ya Musa? Who saved you when your mother cast you in the river, and who reunited you? Remember when you accidentally slayed someone, and the Pharaoh and his men searched for you in every hideout to catch you. Who protected you then? Who directed you towards Madian, and who provided for you?" Musa AS was quietly listening while responding to each question with the words, "You, my Lord, you." The power and victory of Allah now lay with a man who in a few hours was transformed from a shepherd into a prophet and messenger for the people of Egypt. Musa AS carried with him two commands for Pharaoh. The first was an invitation to Allah, and the second was to release Bani Isra'il from all the anguish and oppression imposed on them by Pharaoh's regime. Proof was going to be required in this confrontation, and Musa AS was already armed with two signs that Allah had bestowed upon him, his hand and his staff. Together with his brother Harun AS, he went to Pharaoh. It is reported that they had to persist for 2 years before the palace guards plucked up the courage to ask permission from Pharaoh to grant them an audience. If we recall, Musa AS had lived under Pharaoh's roof for almost 40 years and had to flee to Egypt to escape the death penalty. Therefore, Musa was already on thin ice in Pharaoh's estimate. He was risking his life by engaging Pharaoh in such a conversational dialogue. Nevertheless, he faced Pharaoh and his assembly. Musa AS said, "O Pharaoh, I am a messenger from the Lord of the worlds, who is not to say about Allah except the truth. I have come to you with clear evidence from your Lord, so send with me the children of Israel." However, Pharaoh became arrogant and said to Musa AS in order to degrade and demean him, "Did we not raise you up among us as a child, and you stayed among us for many years of your life? And then you did that deed which you did, and you are of the ungrateful. That is, are you not the one who we raised in our household, and we were good and graceful to you? And you slew a person, thus you ran away from us and denied our graces upon you." He seized the opportunity to remind Musa AS of his upbringing, and also to remind Musa AS of his crime, a veiled threat to Musa AS and his personal liberty. He did not respond to the call by Musa AS, but instead employed tactics to discredit him. Musa said, "I did it then while I was of those astray, so I fled from you when I feared you. Then my Lord granted me wisdom and prophethood and appointed me as one of the messengers." Musa AS continued with a counter-argument, "And is this a favor of which you remind me, that you have enslaved the children of Israel?" Meaning, how can this tyrannical act ever be interpreted as a favor? Instead of refuting this claim, Pharaoh asked, "And what is the Lord of the worlds?" Musa AS replied that he is the one who created all the creatures and decreed for them their actions, provisions, ages, and wrote all this in the book. Then he guided every creature to what he had written for it. So, a human's actions are in accordance with what has been written. Pharaoh was incredulous and asked those around him, "Do you hear that?" The message of Musa AS was only met with ridicule and laughter. Pharaoh then asked of his forefathers. He said that if the situation is as you have mentioned, that Allah is the creator and the one who guides his creation, then why did the previous generations worship gods other than him? They associated with him stars and idols about which you know. So why is it that those generations did not receive this guidance? Musa replied, "The knowledge of them is with my Lord. In a book, my Lord never errs nor forgets. That is, whatever they did is not evidence for you, nor does it go against what I tell you. This is because they were ignorant, just like you, in everything they did and said. Whether big or small, are written in a book. Based on this, they will be treated accordingly by Allah in the hereafter, and He is unjust to none. Then Musa reminded Pharaoh of the greatness of the power of Allah, and that He created the earth as a bed for us, and the sky as a roof over us. He said, "Eat and pasture your cattle. Verily, in this are signs for those who possess reason." He said, "O people, worship your Lord, who created you and those before you, that you may be pious, the one who has made the earth your couch, and the heavens an edifice, and sent down water from the sky, and He brought forth with it fruits for your sustenance. So do not join equals with Allah when you know the truth." Pharaoh said, "Indeed, your messenger who has been sent to you is mad." Musa a.s. was then relegated to the category of insane. Throughout history, the accusation of insanity was a common reaction against any prophet or messenger who was trying to establish the truth in his community. Undeterred, Musa a.s. continued, "Lord of the East and the West, and that between them, if you were to reason." This was a rational argument, for Pharaoh's authority did not range as far as east to west, earth to heaven. The existence of all of that existed could only be attributed to the Creator, and anyone with understanding could see that plainly. Refusing to accept Musa a.s.'s rationale, Pharaoh changed tactics and tried to intimidate both Musa a.s. and Harun a.s. "If you take a god other than me, I will surely place you among those imprisoned." Like all tyrants, Pharaoh wanted to play the role of judge, jury, and executioner. Musa said, "Even if I brought you proof manifest?" Pharaoh said, "Then bring it if you should be of the truthful." In response to the challenge, Musa a.s. threw his staff, and it suddenly transformed into a serpent. The man who claimed to be God was terrified by what he was seeing. "Please contain it," he begged Musa a.s. "I will set all the children of Israel free. Just stop the snake." So Musa picked the snake up, and it once again became a staff. The Pharaoh took a deep breath and asked, "Do you have any more?" He also drew out his hand, and it became white and radiant for all the observers to see. The Pharaoh was again petrified. The two miracles had brought him to the verge of accepting Musa's call. However, his vizier Haman took notice and had a few choice words to incite the Pharaoh. "For goodness sake, you are God," he said. "You cannot yield to Him. Everybody knows you as God. It would cause anarchy if you were to take a step down and become one of the ordinary folk. Just keep composed. We will come up with a solution." A council of 500 advisors immediately convened to discuss what to do. Rather than accepting his defeat with integrity, Pharaoh said, "Have you come to us to drive us out of our land with your magic, O Musa?" Again, he failed to acknowledge the reason supporting Musa a.s.'s mission, which was to spread truth and justice. Just like strategy of all corrupted leaders and politicians, he played the role of the good guy while slinging accusations at the innocent. Pharaoh said to the eminent ones around him, "Indeed, this is a learned magician. He wants to drive you out of your land by his magic. So what do you advise?" Ever, the manipulator Pharaoh played on the fear and paranoia of his self-serving council, uniting all of them against Musa a.s. In a few short minutes, the accusations changed from criminal, madman, magician to usurper. During this historical period, many people in Egypt practiced magic. There were even schools teaching classes in magic and illusion. Pharaoh jumped to the wrong conclusion. He thought that the manifest signs Musa was able to show by the permission of Allah were magic tricks and illusions. The miracles shown by Musa a.s. had really unsettled the Pharaoh. He was forced to swallow his pride, cast his claim of being God aside, and turn to the people around for advice. They said, "Postpone the matter of him and his brother, and send among the city's gatherers, who will bring you every learned, skilled magician." Realizing that their positions and status in Pharaoh's court were at stake, Pharaoh's sycophants and cronies banded against Musa a.s., asking for time to gather their own forces so that the defeat of Musa a.s. and Harun a.s. would be absolute. Pharaoh was confident that his magicians were unbeatable. He had long been using them to influence the hearts and minds of the people. Pharaoh used their conjuring tricks and illusions to dominate and control his subjects. Pharaoh announced to both brothers, "Then we will surely bring you magic like it. So make between us and you an appointment, which we will not fail to keep, and neither will you, in a place assigned." Musa knew that Allah would grant him victory, and played this to his advantage. He asked for the contest between magicians and prophets to take place on the day of a prominent festival. During the mid-morning, at this time and place, the contest would unfold in broad daylight and in clear visibility of the crowd. This way, once the magicians were defeated, it would be in everyone's plain view, obviating any opportunity to deny the defeat of Pharaoh and his magicians. Their appointment agreed. Musa AS and Harun AS were imprisoned, while the magicians were given the opportunity to coordinate and make participations. Here, Allah informs us how Pharaoh gathered all the magicians of his kingdom. Egypt at that time was a land full of magicians who mastered this practice. They gathered from everywhere, becoming a very large number, 80,000 people, to witness the scene. It is said, on the authority of Ibn Abbas, that there were 70 magicians. Pharaoh ordered his ministers, dignitaries, and everybody to attend, and so nobody dared to remain behind. They came to the gathering saying, "Perhaps we may follow the magicians if they are victorious." Before they began, Musa AS came to the magicians and warned them against using magic against Allah's signs. He said, "Woe to you! Do not forge falsehood against Allah, lest He destroy you with a punishment. The one who forged falsehood must perish." So they disputed among themselves about the issue. It is said that this means they started disputing among themselves whether to go ahead with it or not. They said, "These two men are magicians, and they want to expel you from your land by their magic and to do away with your exemplary ways." They were told that Musa and Harun are great magicians who know their art very well and who only want to expel you from this land. They urged the magicians, saying, "So gather your guile and assemble in ranks. Whoever was the upper hand today will surely prosper." They were to use whatever they knew of tricks, betraying, and magic. The festival appeared. Everyone, young and old, had gathered, anxious to see who would win.